Dragon Quest III: The Seeds of Salvation is the third mainline Dragon Quest game. This game is extremely important for the Dragon Quest series because it made the series reach such huge heights in popularity. It brought it from a small game series to an absolutely bloody massive one. Originally released in 1988 for the Japanese Famicom, it eventually made its way over to the West. However, it wasn't as well liked as it was back in Japan. For it being a 1988 game, the story is next to non-existent. It's no surprise really, they were working with limited space, so making a huge, outrageous story was not really their main focus. In the game you only get one or two twists, it's not mind-bending, it's not trying to challenge you, it's just doing something quite simple. There is only one main character, and that is the hero. His initial quest is to set out and defeat the evil Baramos, but after defeating Baramos, there's another one named Zoma that he must also defeat in the world below. Now the big twist of this game, spoiler alert, is that the world below you is the original Alefgard from Dragon Quest I, which then leads this game into a prequel of the Dragon Quest I. You get 4 party members, but there's only one that is a part of the story really. The rest you make up, you just create, which I didn't mind at first, but it didn't really entice me. You know, there's no one to bounce off the hero. You kind of feel like you're walking around with 3 sacks of meat. They don't really add anything to the story at all. However, saying that though, it is actually quite good fun making your own characters and like making their whole skill set. And finding out a good way to, I guess, do battle in your own unique style, which is actually quite fun and quite rewarding. The cultural legacy of Dragon Quest III is extortionate. The Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake alone was one of the bigger sellers of the recent Nintendo Direct. It was Dragon Quest III that really brought the series to a whole new level. The first 2 games didn't really do very well. They were alright, but it was Dragon Quest III that created so many things that we see today in RPG. While Legacy doesn't really have anything to do with the actual gameplay and how the game itself is, I think it's important to look back and see how much people really enjoyed this game. For the time when this was originally released, this was a huge bang and a huge seller. People couldn't get enough of it. This is Yuji Horí's prime right here. Dragon Quest III's soundtrack was potentially the best in the entire series. It was altogether just magical, and even though he's not with us anymore, his vision has been reignited with the release of the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. There are not many songs on the Dragon Quest III soundtrack, so I would heavily advise you go ahead and take a listen to all the pieces of work on it. It's incredible, and actually just play the game, just play Dragon Quest III. Play the HD 2D remake when it comes out. I'm not sponsored. I played this game on the Nintendo Switch, and while the graphics are good, they're really nothing incredible. It's just a stereotypical 2D RPG. When it first released though in 1988, it was still very, very good. You were able to move around in 4 camera angles. It was impressive for the time, however though the graphics are seriously outdated, which is why the HD 2D remake is such a huge thing, as we're finally being able to see the reimagining of Dragon Quest III in a really new, modern, up-to-date way. The performance is fine as well. There's no frame drops. It's very simple. It's quite hard to have frame drops and that sort of thing in the first place because it's a 2D game. But overall, the performance and the graphics is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong about them. I'm about to piss a lot of people off. I just didn't enjoy this game as much as Dragon Quest IV and Dragon Quest VII, which is why at the minute I'm placing it at the bottom. It could still move up in, but it will not be first. It will definitely not be second. It just for me was not as good as a game as I was expecting. It is still good. It's still a great game, but it's far outdated. There's next to no story and development. While the adventuring is very, very cool, I like all the sense of adventure it has. It's just not for me. I like story elements, I like interesting characters, and I like huge plot twists, and this game didn't do it for me. But let's not take it away from it. Its legacy is incredible, its music is incredible, and its sense of adventure is incredible. I've never had a game quite like it. It's just not something that I would personally... Well, out of all 10 games that we'll be reviewing, it's just not one that will be near the top for me. Simply because it's just... The adventure thing is cool, but I just didn't like the plot and the story and the characters as much as the two games ahead of it. However, when the HD 2D remake of this game comes out, I will revise this positioning and potentially either put it up or, well, very unlikely put it down, but I will revise to see if it is in the same place or if it's going to get moved up.